Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about what your type in men is and why you have this type in men. And I have 5 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, this will be group number 4, and this will be group number 5. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can just pause the video, but if you don't need any more time, then just head down to the description box below and find the timestamps for your particular group and click on that, and your reading should appear in front of you. And while you're down there in the description box below, make sure to check out my guide on how to book a personal reading from me. I love doing personal readings for you guys. It's always a pleasure. So please check that out. And yeah, but let's focus on this reading right here. Choose your group and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose the Wonderland Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 1, the people who will choose group number 1? What is group number 1's type in men? What type of man does group number 1 usually fall in love with or find attractive? What is the usual type that group number 1 falls for? Okay, so I'm sensing that you're more attracted to biker dudes or dudes who are a little bit rough around the edges. But I feel like your brain doesn't want that. I feel like your brain wants someone who's a little bit more deep, or like not that biker dudes can't be deep, of course they can, but I feel like your brain might be more interested in the dudes who read a lot, the dudes who go to the university and sit in the library and look dreamy out of the window and, like, you know, that sort of thing. I think like your brain likes that scenario. Like your brain wants to fall in love with that kind of dude, but I feel like your genitals seems to want something different. It seems like it's yeah, I think it's like a little bit of a battle between the brain and the body, and I think your body is maybe more attracted to the rougher dude, and maybe there's some subconscious process that's going on that is making you more attracted to that, and I'm gonna dig deeper into that. So but first I want some confirmation. I want maybe some more details about what your usual type is, because biker dude is a little bit too vague. I kind of want some more. So yeah, I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about what your type in men is. The Hierophant reversed. Alternative. I think you're more interested in the people who stand out a little bit, the outsiders, the outcast, the ones that don't fit in, or yeah, the misfits, the guys who seem to have fallen a little bit outside the societal norms. And yeah, it's feel like you're also more attracted to people who are not conventionally pretty or conventionally handsome. Men who are maybe a little bit rougher, like has a more rough, scruffy kind of exterior that might not be the usual pretty boy kind of exterior. I feel like you're maybe also more attracted to men with a little bit intense eyes, like intensity in their eyes that kind of pierces right through you, like something about very engaging eyes, very demanding eyes, something about it, I don't know. Like kind of the Cillian Murphy kind of eyes, maybe very blue eyes. Maybe you have a thing for blue or light colored eyes. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more about your usual type or your type in men. Justice. Okay. I don't know if you radiate a little bit more towards Libras, people who have Libra in their sun sign, or just airy people who have air sign placement. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more and see. Okay, with the Wheel of Fortune, I think your usual type might be the one where you have to take a little bit of a chance with them, like a little bit risky, like something that doesn't seem straightforward, something that seems a little bit surprising, or something where you can't really figure the person out. Like that the person, like the more mysterious a person is, the more interesting they are to you, or that I think you like to maybe get surprised also, like that maybe you feel like it's fun to unravel a person or kind of figure out if a person is actually the way they come across, or like some people might be very rough on the outside but very soft on the inside, and maybe you want to kind of, or maybe you're just attracted to someone who seems one way but you are sure, or you feel, you kind of feel a certainty that there is something deeper underneath, like that they are not the person that they pretend to be. And I think you like the whole mystery and solving the mystery. I think you also like men who are not very forthcoming with their feelings, and men who kind of keep their feelings bottled up inside. But you can tell that they are there, but you know that that they're not going to show those feelings to you. And I think you like that game, or I don't know if it's necessarily a game. That's kind of, that's the wrong word. But I think you like to solve the mystery. You like to figure a person out. You like to see if there is something hiding within a person. With the Six of Swords reversed, I think you might get a little bit bored with certain types of people. I think you might not get attracted to people who are, or to men who are boring, men who come across as too nice, men who come across as just a little bit plain and simple. I think you like men to be a little bit complicated, a little bit mysterious, and a little bit deeper, but not necessarily in a way that you can see right away. But I think you feel like when somebody puts everything on the table on the first date, like tells you everything about them on the first date, I think you kind of feel like now it's kind of over. Like now you know everything about this person, and now you know that this person is maybe not that deep, but and maybe not that interesting. And then you can find somebody who is who has exactly the same level of interesting things about them, like that. But if they keep everything hidden, then it's like, it's just interesting to get it out. And it might be the same thing, like the boring person and the mysterious person could be the exact same person. The only difference is that the mysterious person doesn't put everything out on the table and just gives you information like very slowly, and the other person gives you all the information very fast, and then you get bored with them. But yeah, I guess yeah. But this card here, it's also about it's about sailing from calm waters into stormy waters, because usually the upright, it's in the upright interpretation of this card, it's somebody who sails from stormy waters into calm waters, but it's reversed. So I feel like you enjoy a little bit of storm, like that a little bit, like stormy weather is not a problem, like that it's okay. It makes things a little bit interesting, it mixes things up a little bit, and it's uncalculable. It's like you can't I don't know if uncalculable is a word though. Like that you can't calculate it, like uncalculatable, it doesn't matter. But I think you like the unpredictable. Yeah, that's a word, I know that. So and maybe you also just like it when things are not too serious too quickly, because if things are too serious right away, then it seems a little bit claustrophobic, like it's like a little bit too much at once, all at once. And yeah, I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say about why you have this type in men. What is the reason why you are attracted to the men that you're attracted to? the Lovers reversed. I guess deep down you might not be ready for love. Maybe you're kind of avoiding love. So you choose the person who is the most likely to break your heart and end up being nothing like you expected them to be. And maybe you do that because you aren't ready, like you're maybe it's also the easier way to because maybe you feel like you're not really ready, or maybe some of you are asexual or not really certain whether a romantic relationship in a traditional way is actually for you, if it's something you can see yourself living through. Like I think you might feel like the conventional love story is a little bit hard for you to picture yourself in. That is, I don't know why, but maybe you just feel like maybe you're a little bit uncertain whether love really exists, or maybe you're a little bit of a cynic when it comes to love. But and so maybe you choose these men that you know will leave, or will never settle down with you, will never go serious with you, or anything like that, because that is easier. Like it's easier to break your own heart than to break somebody else's heart. So you set yourself up for failure because you don't want to end up in the situation where you're with somebody, like with a really great guy who's really nice to you, who gives you everything you want and does everything for you, and you feel like this is just the kindest person in the world, and then like having to tell that person that you're not ready for love, that you don't even know if love is actually something you believe in, and that maybe you don't even find that person attractive, and like that it's just maybe a little bit hard for you to, like maybe you just don't want to hurt anybody, and maybe you just feel like it's easier to use yourself as the person who's going to get hurt, and that's actually kind of in a way kind of noble, really. Like it's noble to want to sacrifice yourself instead of sacrificing somebody else. So but I'm going to shuffle a little bit more about the underlying reasons why you are attracted to the people that you're attracted to. Okay, with a 9 of Swords reversed, I feel like you know, this person here, like look at this card. This person is very overwhelmed, and this person cannot stand the noise of the flamingos. This person is going out of their mind because this person is just being distracted by these flamingos and can't deal with it, and it's reversed. And I feel like you're maybe a part of you is afraid of getting overwhelmed in a relationship. Maybe you have been living alone for a long time. maybe you have been alone for a long time, maybe you've been single for a long time, and so maybe you're used to your own company, and you're used to the quiet, and you're used to the silence. And maybe a part of you is afraid that if you're going to get with somebody, if you're going to start a relationship with someone, you're going to feel like you don't have any time for yourself, you don't have time for your projects, and you can't maybe focus when there's somebody else around. And so there might be a truly pragmatic reason why your subconscious mind is trying to avoid a relationship right now, is maybe because you have a greater mission that you need to accomplish before you can get in a relationship. Because a relationship will be a distraction. Of course it will. Like, there's no way that a relationship can't be a distraction. It's always going to be a distraction, especially in the beginning, because you're going to have to be with that person a lot of the time, and it might be just too time consuming and too overwhelming, and might distract you from your purpose, your mission, or just your education, your career. Like, there might be something that you're doing right now that is very important to you, and maybe your subconscious mind is just trying to avoid you ending up being burned out or stressed out because of you having to juggle your career and a relationship at the same time, which might be a little bit impossible right now, as there might be something that is just taking up too much space in your mind. And it's not too much. Like, too much was a wrong way to put it, because I don't think it's taking up too much space. I think it's taking up the perfect amount of space, but it's not leaving a lot of space behind in order for you to, like, have something on the side. And so I know that, of course, some of you might be in your late 20s or in your 30s, or like or maybe older than that, and maybe you feel like this, like that you have to start a relationship because the clock is ticking and stuff like that. But there comes a time where we all have to make a choice. Is it more important for us to achieve the goals that we put on ourselves, things that we find important, things that are going to leave a mark after we... And of course, children will do that too. Like, if you are thinking about having children at someday soon, or like hopefully within the next, like within a not too long time frame or something like that, if you feel that way, then I get it, that of course this is a little bit stressful to think that you have to make a choice between your career or having children. But of course, like, you can have children in other ways. Like, that sometimes it might be more important to follow your purpose and do the things that you've always wanted to do, and do the things that you believe will have the biggest impact on the world, like the things where you feel like it's giving you purpose, it's giving you a sense of like your life meaning something. And of course it will always create meaning in your life to have children as well. I guess I get that it is a big thing, that but genetics isn't everything. Like, it's not like, you don't, like, I feel like you're not, maybe not a conventional person. You're not, maybe not the most traditional person in the world, and that is great. I think that it's beautiful that we're living our lives in a different way, that that some of us are bold enough to choose different things and not do things in the order that we believe we have to do things just because of societal norms. You can still have a fulfilling life even without children, or you can have children later on in life. That's also a possibility. It's not something you have to rule out, but of course it is something that expires at some point. But if it expires and there are other ways to have children, a lot of children out there need parents, and so there is also that aspect. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just saying that it's like, don't feel pressured into going into the love game, the dating game, because I feel like you don't even, like, I feel like subconsciously you're trying to avoid it, and you're dating some shady people just in order to avoid love. And it's like, I feel like it's maybe not good for your own safety to be dating these shady types. But I know that some of them might not, like, I don't know if you have even dated some, like, but I feel like that's the type of person you're attracted to right now. That will likely change when you get to a point where you're actually ready to, like, fully welcome love into your life. Then your type is going to change. You're going to be more, like, you're going to navigate more towards the serious type, the type that will settle down, but everything in due time. And I think as long as you're not really certain if love is something you're interested in right now, then I think you're just going to start some relationships or start dating some people that you're not actually going to follow through with, or you're not going to end up going steady with these people because it's not going to, like, because these people are not the types that usually settle down. So if that makes sense. With the King of Cups here, this is someone who is sailing on an island. And I think, in a way, I think a part of you wants to be on an island. And sailing on this island on your own. And that is okay. It's okay to want to go it alone and want to do things in silence and without interruptions. And if you feel like you can only concentrate when you're on your own, like if you feel like maybe you go to the university, or maybe you have a job where you have to perform at your job. Maybe you feel like whenever you are at your job or in the university, you can't concentrate because of the interruptions. And maybe you feel like the only way you can study or do your job is to take the work with you home and do it in your own home alone, where there are no interruptions, where there are no noises and sounds and, like, people coughing or people laughing or people talking, and and that's understandable. Some of us are just very very easily distracted, and it can be very overwhelming to be with somebody who might be a distraction, might just be distracting to have this person in your house, in your presence, without this person even doing anything. They might end up making you feel like you can't concentrate on the job or the studying that you need to do. Like, so maybe when things have settled down a little bit in your life, like when you feel like there is room, there is space for a little bit of distraction, then I feel like it will be better for you to find love at that, like when you're ready. So that's just that's what I have for you. I'm gonna end this reading here. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the Cook's Tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling first. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2? What is group number 2's type in men? What is group number 2's type in men? Okay, so I'm sensing that your type in men is that you're more attracted to the creative type, the musician, the artist, a person who can do something with their hands, like something like a skill, like painting or playing the piano or playing guitar or something like that. I also feel like your type is the more sensitive type, like the man who's not afraid of showing emotions, not afraid of being perceived as a little bit feminine or a little bit sensitive. And I feel like most of you are into men who have long hair, and I think that's also one of those delicate features that I think also seems to come along with having a creative side, especially when you're a man. Like a man seems to have a tendency to grow their hair long if they also like to play music or paint or do art or something like that. It seems like it kind of somehow is related. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, I think some of you might also be into men with dreadlocks or braids, men who braid their hair. I'm also just sensing that you're into men who take care of them, or take care of themselves, or take care of their appearance, or at least try to do something unique or interesting with their appearance. Men who seem to actually have thought about their personal style, how to present themselves, how to make an impression on people by the way that they look. And I feel like some of you could even be into men who wear a little bit of makeup, just a little bit, just to kind of create a sort of unique look. Kind of like the glam rock kind of look, you know? I'm also sensing that some of you could be into, like, this is a little bit of a different area than I initially thought, but I think maybe some of you are also into K-pop musicians, K-pop singers. They also have delicate features and also maybe dress a little bit to the more feminine side sometimes, or I know I'm kind of combing all of them under the same comb, or you know that I'm not, or brushing them under the same comb. I never know how to say that phrase, but you know that I know that it's a grand scale of different musicians, and of course they're not all the same. So yeah, but but I'm sensing that most of you could probably be more into the more feminine man, the man who is a little bit softer, has a little bit of a softer exterior, and shows vulnerability in a way that could both be like the type of vulnerability where this person could come across as a little bit emo or a little bit goth or something like that, but could also be the more emotional, where it's like someone who just embraces their feminine side, like Harry Styles or something like, yeah, you know. But I'm gonna shuffle and hear a little bit more about your type in men. With the moon reversed, I feel like you're attracted to men who are very confident in their own skin, men who don't seem to have a lot of worries about what other people think of them, men who seem to maybe worry very little about anything, really. Like that, it seems like they have even though they might have an emotional, vulnerable side, I think you like it when a man is a little bit careless, or not necessarily careless towards you or towards other people, but maybe careless when it comes to things in their own life, or like kind of their attitude about things that they do. Like they don't care what other people think. They don't care if it's gonna be something that like a man who dresses a little bit feminine, like that like it takes balls to do that. And so, and men who grow their hair long, even though it's very like it's something that a lot of men do, I know that, but the choice to do that is a bold choice. And I think you like men who take bold choices, who aren't afraid of making decisions that could bite them in the ass, but do it because they really believe in their creative expression. And yeah, and someone who doesn't conform to the norms and likes to kind of rebel against what is considered the proper way to dress, or the proper way to be or act as a man. Like someone who isn't afraid of going against the gender roles, and someone who, like a man who isn't afraid of saying that he's good at cooking or good at cleaning, or even though I know I'm kind of putting it in a little bit of a simplistic way where it's maybe a little bit more complex than that. But I think I think you might be into the man who isn't afraid of doing feminine things, like, and also expressing themselves in a feminine way without regards to what other people would think, or whether other people would find them to be less of a man if they do that. Like I think you might also be into guys who do embroidery, or like, you know, guys who knit or crochet, or you know, the men who like arts and crafts, stuff like that, and aren't afraid of admitting it, even though it might come across as a little bit gay. But like that this is I think you're into guys who aren't afraid of coming across as gay, or like they don't care because they're so comfortable in their own masculinity that they can do that. And I think you might have encountered some people like that, and maybe you have even dated some people like this in the past. And I think every time, I think that was the thing that that was the hook, the thing that got you involved with that person, that you felt like this person was creative and wasn't afraid of showing their creativity and showing their softer sides, and showing that they could do something that other men would feel would hurt their masculinity, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna shuffle a little bit more about what your type in men is. I feel like you also like men who do things with intent, and if I don't know. But I'm gonna shuffle a little bit more about what your type is before I ask why. What is your type? What is group number 2's type in men? Ten of Pentacles reversed. I think, like, this is someone who has a golden goose, and this came out reversed. And so with the golden goose, it kind of is that, well, yeah, this card came out reversed though, but I feel like many of you might be kind of interested in the starving artist kind of thing, where maybe you're not really that interested in being with like a millionaire or like someone who has a lot of money, or like that. Maybe that kind of turns you off a little bit to be with someone who's a businessman. Like maybe you like the whole idea of being with someone who's more bohème, more like more of a, I guess, kind of like a hippie, but or that sort of thing. Someone who doesn't care about materialistic stuff. Someone you can have a simple life with, where it isn't about like posting bikini pictures on Instagram or something like that. That you like to be with someone who's more about inner values and not about keeping up appearances, if that makes sense. And I think it might also fit very well in what you want for the future. I feel like you have this, like, or at least I feel like some of you have a little bit of a dream of like living in a little bit of a simplistic, or living in a simplistic life in the countryside, where you have like a garden, but it's like maybe not the most glamorous, but just cozy and nice, and I don't know, autumn vibes. I don't know if that can translate to a decor inside a house, but like, of course you wouldn't probably decorate it like all year in autumn vibes. Maybe you would, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually quite cool, actually, very cozy. And maybe you have this this idea of just wanting like this warm, cozy life in a house where there's a lot of antiquities, a lot of like old furniture that all have like a story to tell. Like everything has like sentimental value, and everything is like a little bit eclectic, where it's just like a combination of things where all the things have like meaning to you and are that, and I don't know it. And I think maybe you feel like if you were like in a relationship with some big shot businessman, then he would want to have like a modern house with like black and white and silver, or that sort of, or black and white and gray sort of color palette, and where it's everything is just plain and kind of boring. And maybe you want something a little bit more sustainable and cozy and not too much over the top. And so you might want someone who kind of has the same style as you, or the same dream for the future. So I don't know, it's so with a Judgment, I feel like you want someone who is deeper, who has deep philosophical thoughts, someone who you can talk to about, philosophy, religion, someone you can sit on the couch with, where both of you are like reading a book and talking to each other about the books that you're reading, and like that sort of dream of just wanting someone that you can share your thoughts with, and someone who is layered enough to understand the deeper thoughts, and not just like, I just feel like you don't want someone who is too overly masculine to the point where they can't talk about some of the softer, more delicate topics in life, like emotions, talking about maybe the more, I don't know, the more soft things, like soft philosophy. I don't know if there's a thing called soft philosophy. I don't think so, but I don't know. I feel like some men feel like they have to like only be into certain philosophers because they are considered to be like cool, like Plato, or like so that's the cool philosophy. And then there's the more, the more, I don't know, the more, I don't know where I'm going with this. It doesn't matter, but yeah. With a Judgment, I just feel like you want someone that you can grow with, develop with, someone who also wants self-development, and like someone who can also see the values in trying to better yourself as a person, and find the deeper subconscious patterns that make us do bad things, or do things that aren't in our best interest, and like kind of getting to the bottom of the mystery of the mind and the psyche. And maybe you want someone that you can do that with, talk about that with, and maybe you feel like that it's more likely to find someone who is on your wavelength if you find someone who seems a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more soft, because they usually tend to have a little bit more of an interest in talking about the psyche. I don't know, but I want to know about why. why you have the type that you have in men. So I'm gonna shuffle. So why do you have the type in men that you have? Group number 2. Okay. 6 of Wands reversed. I feel like maybe you used to be a little bit of an outcast when you were younger, or like maybe you felt like you were a little bit of a misfit, like that maybe you were bullied a little bit in your school years, where like I know this is maybe not what you were expecting, but like this, it could have something to do with something that happened to you, but not like, of course, being attracted to someone like I described before, you don't have to have some kind of trauma to be attracted to that type of person. I think it's actually very normal to be attracted to someone like that. But maybe you have had bad experiences with men. Maybe when you were younger, like with boys being like if some boys bullied you when you were younger, it might make you a little bit more thoughtful of trying to avoid the type of men who used to give you a hard time when you were in school. And that might have been the jocks and the sports types that were like very hyper masculine and kind of made fun of you for maybe, I don't know, being for being you. I feel like some of you are actually men who are asking about what your type in men is, and so that would also make sense, of course. So maybe you've had some men who were like the hyper masculine ones that kind of gave you a hard time, and maybe that is why you kind of want to find something that is the opposite of that. But I also feel like maybe after that, like maybe recently, or like within the past 5 years or so, you might have had kind of an experience with a hyper masculine man who was, or maybe you dated someone who you felt were a little bit too I don't know, a little bit too rough, or lacking sensitivity, that this person was lacking empathy for you or something like that, and maybe you want someone who seems more sensitive because you feel like that person would be more sensitive to you, and that it would make you feel more secure in the relationship if you found someone who was different from your ex, maybe, who was maybe a little bit of a tool. And so, but of course that would have maybe been your type before, like that you might have had a type before that was more hyper masculine, and maybe now your type has shifted into a more feminine or a little bit more sensitive sort of energy, because you don't want to end up in that trap again. And that could be a subconscious pattern, that like it might just be your body trying to protect you from experiencing that again, and so you might be more attracted to the more feminine or the more sensitive types. So, and by feminine I don't mean like because men can be feminine too, and like it's no, like we all have like I guess usually like 50-50 in a way. I think the way that we come across it doesn't necessarily have maybe 50-50 was a little bit of like, I'm bad at math though, so if my math is not mathing, then it's that's the reason. So, but yeah, I think we all have like, yeah, masculine and feminine sides, and I think like it doesn't. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But with a Knight, oh, there's another card. Oh, okay. So with a Knight of Wands reversed, I feel like maybe your type has just shifted, where you might have been with a Knight of Wands in the past, maybe a fire sign, a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, and maybe you got a little bit tired of that energy and felt like it was a little bit shallow and a little bit not that fire sign energy is shallow, but I just feel like the person that you were with was maybe a little bit too shallow and just thinking about what other people thought of them and what other people thought of you, and might have only been dating you as kind of like a trophy. And maybe you just want someone who doesn't treat you like that, like who doesn't expect you to just be in the kitchen, and like that maybe also because you don't want the whole like old school, like old fashioned sort of like back in the 60s kind of relationship where the woman is just supposed to be in the kitchen, and like that it's like maybe you have had someone or maybe dated someone who really wanted that sort of relationship, and maybe you felt like that you might have been a little bit baffled by this because you didn't think that someone in the modern age, like now, that someone would be like that. We're not in the modern age, we're in the postmodern, but that's not, we're not talking about art here, so I'm sorry, but yeah, I think with the Nine of Cups reversed, I think this is like, when I see this card when it's upright, I actually see it as a trophy wife kind of card. And so maybe you have experienced someone who tried to make you a trophy wife, and you just don't want that. You want something that is a little bit more, I don't want to say gender fluid, but a gender role fluid, where the gender roles aren't specified, and where there aren't any assumptions of what a woman should do and what a man should do, where you both could just be like doing the same things, not necessarily that one thing is just for the one part to do. And like, I feel like you're also maybe someone who likes to do like carpentry or like things with your hands. Like maybe you like to do things around the house that are considered to be male tasks that only men should do, and maybe you feel like you can easily repair a sink if the sink is leaking. You know how to do that, and so you don't feel like you have to be in like that relationship where everything is divided into two, and maybe you just want a relationship where you can communicate and talk about about everything, but and also do everything equally, like, or like everybody tips in with their skills and talents, and some things can be done by you and some things can be done by them, but the same things can also be done by them, like the same things that you do, and like, you know, the more blended sort of relationship where you just take turns in doing everything, or like, I don't know really what this is about, but I think maybe that is why you're looking for someone who isn't afraid of showing their feminine side, someone who isn't afraid of telling people that they knit sweaters and that they do embroidery in their, or that they play an instrument, or that they paint, or that they draw, or like that it would show you that this person is not afraid of doing something that is considered feminine, and then you might feel like that would blend in very well in this vision that you have for the future of your future relationship. You know, so yeah, I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one, and have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Miss Cleo's tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle these cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3? What is group number 3's type in men? I feel like you like hairy men, like men with a lot of beard on them, like a lot of like also maybe body hair. Like I feel like you're into, yeah, beards. And I feel like you're maybe also a little bit into a little bit more raw look, that like a little bit scruffy, a little bit a little bit grimy, a little bit grungy, like a little bit you might also be like into men who hunt, or I know maybe some of you are vegan, and so maybe you're gonna go crazy over me saying that, but I feel like you're maybe attracted to the man who does something a little bit more masculine, like something like hunting, or doing something that is considered like, you know, shooting with a gun. Or I know that's probably also something that some of you will be like, no, that's not right. Why would you say that? And that's okay though. But I just feel like a small minority are into this, and I'm just gonna say that just for them. Like I'm gonna do it for them, and that's okay. Like you should also know how to share with other people. So don't be mad that they get something that you don't get. Like, you know, like if you get it, if you don't get it, then it's okay. But yeah. But I just feel like there is a beard thing here. Like that is something that is coming through. I'm also sensing that some of you might be more into the kind of a man with a lot of with a good jawline, which is kind of like a little bit of a problem there, because with a good jawline, a beard ruins a good jawline. Like if a man has a good jawline, he shouldn't be growing a beard. Like that's a crime. That's not that's not how it's supposed to be. Either you have a very great jawline and then you show it to people, and then like if you have a very weak jawline, like me, and if I was a guy, I would definitely be growing a beard, because that would make me look 10 times hotter. But yeah, if you have like, yeah, and so I think, but I think you are into both. Maybe not simultaneously, maybe not at the same time, but maybe at 2 different times, where like, you're into men who can grow a good beard, and then you're also into men who don't have a beard but has a great jawline. So yeah. But I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say about your type in men. Okay. with a hermit here, I think you might be into men who are a little bit mysterious, a little bit like people who come across as a little bit cold and a little bit withdrawn, maybe a little bit unattainable in a way, like where it seems that like they don't want to be in a relationship and like that they don't want to settle down, and that might be something that you're a little bit into, when men don't want to actually be in a relationship, and even though you want to be in a relationship, and I feel like you actually do, and so I don't know why you, but that is one of the things that tend to happen for a lot of women, me included, that if someone tells me that they don't want love and that they don't believe in love, and that love is something like some kind of social construct or something like that, it kind of gets me. It kind of makes me feel like, oh yeah, date me, yeah, let's go out, because that's hot. Like, I don't know, like I can't explain this. Like, it is what it is. But with the 9 of Cups here, I feel like you're maybe into like, I feel like your type in men is like kind of the trophy, like a trophy husband, like someone who is very handsome. Like, I think you're into handsome men, and what's wrong with that? Like that, I guess that's all women's type, really. Like, of course, like if I had the offer to date Brad Pitt, I would say yes, that of course. But I think there is maybe a difference between what is our type, what is the type of man we're most attracted to, and then maybe the type of person that we usually go for. Like, if we meet them in a bar, like maybe there is a difference here, where I feel like maybe this is more explaining your type in men, like when you watch movies, or when you watch TV shows, and you might fall in love with the handsome guy, the guy that is supposed to be handsome, that is supposed to be the sex symbol of the show. And there's like with Peaky Blinders, like, who doesn't fall in love with Cillian Murphy in that show? Like, it's so there is a little bit where I feel like, I think you are into men who are conventionally pretty, conventionally handsome, where a lot of people are into that too. Also, like that. Of course, he doesn't have a beard, but he doesn't need one. Like that, there are men who just don't need a beard, because they have so like they have enough features, like beautiful features in their face. It would just be a shame if they had a beard. But I think like Brad Pitt is also a good example. Like, he's horrible with a beard, but not horrible. He's still good looking, but it is a shame sometimes when people grow a beard. But I think it's because of the jawline. But I don't know why I'm being so off topic right now. I'm gonna try to focus on the reading and not focus on everything else. Like, but with the Devil reversed, I think you might be kind of into the man who isn't materialistically interested, like men who don't have to show off with like big watches and like wear like designer clothes and stuff like that. You might find that to be a little bit of a turn off when someone needs to show off. And like men who has like a picture of their car as their profile picture on Facebook, that might turn you off. Like you might feel like that's not it. Like that and I get that. I understand. So like, and I think you're maybe more into men who are a little bit more like the type of person who lives a little bit of a more simple life, or like, I don't know, maybe not simple, but shows their simplicity through their way of dressing. Like maybe you like a man who doesn't care about the way they dress, like who just wears a t-shirt and some jeans and like, and that's it, and they don't care if the t-shirt is like some kind of brand. Like they might just buy the t-shirt because of the price or something like that, or the color of it, but not because it is some designer brand. But yeah, you might also like men who just wear their work clothes, like men in uniform kind of thing. Like, but I guess men in uniform don't really wear their uniform like out when they aren't working. But I think you might have a thing for men in uniform too, and I get that too. Like like who doesn't? Like that. So I feel like maybe you. Like the only problem I see here is that I think you have a type in men that you share with a lot of other women. Like a lot of other women tend to also fall in love with the same people that you might fall in love with, and that might have caused you some problems or some trouble in the past, where maybe you have fallen in love with a man that had a lot of other suitors that also wanted a piece of him. And so there might be a sad story here, like where you might have been with a guy and you dated them, or even was in a committed relationship with them, but then kind of lost them to, or lost him to somebody else, or that you felt like it was just too much with the flirting, like that you felt like it was a little bit hard to keep them or keep him in a, like, keep him from talking to others or kind of flirting with others. So but I don't know. With the Two of Swords reversed, I feel like you might be kind of into men who are very pretty, but also a little bit unhinged in a good way, or in a way that is kind of intriguing. But that's hard to find. Like, it's hard to find someone who's both very handsome and also a little bit crazy. But it happens. It definitely happens. But you might be kind of into the like little bit of an edge, like that they don't have to only be handsome. They also might like that. It would be good if they have like some kind of story behind them. Like there's something that makes them interesting. So with the Queen of Cups here, I think, well, there is a crow here, like or I think it's a crow. I feel like maybe you're I feel like you might be into someone who is, or into men who kind of come and go as they please, and like maybe you have kind of fallen in love with men where it was hard to keep them down, hard to tame them, kind of where they were all over the place. Maybe you have even dated someone who was like on drugs and you didn't really know where he was most of the time, and maybe that is why you have the whole like you like it when they're a little bit unhinged, but maybe that can also kind of flow overboard sometimes, like, or like get a little bit too much where it can become a little bit chaotic. So, but I do want to know, I want to know if, like, I want to know why you have the type of man that you have, why you have this type. Okay, with the Empress here, like, and the Emperor reversed. I don't know, like, I think it's because you're a very feminine woman, and I think a very feminine woman, or a feminine man, if you're a man, I of course don't know your gender, but if you're very feminine yourself, then maybe you're looking for someone who is your perfect counterpart, and so that would make for like someone who has a lot of hair, someone who is a little bit scruffy, someone who is like a hunter, or like doing something like out in the woods, like, yeah, you know, what's it called, like a lumberjack, or that style, the lumberjack style, like the Scottish pattern shirts and stuff like that, flannel shirts and yeah, and stuff like that. And it might be because you are, yeah, very feminine, and maybe also because you're very, and maybe you go for the more handsome men because you're very, very good looking yourself, and so it might just, like, of course, if you're a 10 out of 10, you would also look for someone who is kind of up there, like an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10. Like maybe you're looking for men who are kind of in your league, and that's okay. Like maybe it's something that you do subconsciously, so maybe you don't even notice that you do so, and maybe you don't even find yourself super beautiful like yourself. Like maybe you feel like maybe you feel like you're not a 10 out of 10 at all, or something like that. But I think that is maybe maybe you're just not aware of your own beauty, and so you might just be very humble about it, or I don't know. But I think subconsciously you might know that the men that you are attracted to are within your league, and so that's maybe why you choose to be or why you go after them, or why you're attracted to them. So, but I do feel like you have been in a situation in the past where you might have chosen someone because of the way that they looked, and then realized that they were very little substance, like that there was very little substance within them, like that it was maybe a little bit of a mistake to date that person. So like maybe you found someone who looked a little bit like Brad Pitt, but then it turned out that he was living in his parents' basement and that he had no sense of direction when it came to his own life. And so, yeah. So with the Emperor here reversed, I feel like that is you. I think maybe you don't have a lot of like masculine energy within you. Like maybe you're very purely feminine, and so you look for something masculine to be your perfect counterpart, because maybe you're looking for like the opposites attract type of situation. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's like I maybe I'm gonna go a little. I feel like that was a little bit too easy to kind of just get to that conclusion, that it's probably just because you're feminine and looking for a very masculine guy, like that, because it complements your femininity. I guess that's a little bit of a too easy answer. So I'm gonna shuffle some of these Gypsy Oracle cards. I don't know if these can actually give an answer to this, but I do want to know why you have the type in men that you have. Okay, with the Wedding card and the Child card and the Frivolity card and the Soldier card, I guess this is a little bit, yeah, I think with the Child card it could just mean that you're that you're attracted to very pretty men or like handsome men because of genetics. There is just a very natural aspect here, like it's very normal for women to be attracted to very attractive men because their genetics will give you good children or good looking children, like not good children, and good looking children are not necessarily good children. So but it's, I think there is like just a genetic aspect, something where it's just something our body does, like our body gets attracted to the type that will bring the most beautiful children into the world. And so that makes sense. With a Wedding card, I feel like you're also maybe maybe you're also looking for someone who can give you like the perfect sort of the perfect love story, with like where it's maybe a little bit picture perfect. Maybe you have a little bit of, maybe you have a vision of how your life will be in the future. Maybe you have a little bit of a hope that you can have like some kind of like Instagram account where you, or something where you can showcase you and your future husband, where people will be engaged because of, I don't know, I know that sounds very shallow, and I do believe that most of you find that to be not at all what you want, but I do feel like maybe you have this vision of like some of how you would like to be perceived as a couple, or how you would want your future to be. And maybe you feel like if you could find someone who is, who fits you, who is your perfect counterpart, who also can match you and match your energy, that you could maybe bring something or create something together, maybe through a child, or maybe through like some art, or do something together, or like create a couple's Instagram account, even though I feel like some of you don't want that. But yeah, with the soldier card, I don't know, it's, I guess, I have no idea actually what to make of the soldier card in asking why you have the type of person, why you have this type in men. Maybe if someone in your family was a soldier, then maybe, like if your dad was a soldier, or like if your grandfather was a soldier, but you looked very much up to that person, maybe you want to find someone who looks a little bit like him. Or maybe you kind of subconsciously fall in love with people who look a little bit like him. And maybe he was a very handsome man, and so maybe that is the thing here. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Group number 3. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Tarot of Mermaids tarot deck, and I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So, Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4? What is group number 4's type in men? I'm sensing that you are most into men who are a little bit eccentric, a little bit over the top. Like someone who isn't. I feel like your type in men is like the type of man who isn't afraid of being the center of attention, who isn't, like, I feel like you're into performers, like people who like to perform, who like to make jokes, like men who like to make people laugh, men who like to, yeah, put on a show for people, entertain people. I feel like you're kind of into the actor kind of man, the man who goes to theater school, the man who kind of, like the type of man who would have a social media presence, who isn't afraid of making silly jokes that make people laugh, even though they might come across as a little bit too goofy. But I think you like the whole idea of a man who isn't afraid of showing their true self and owning who they are and being authentically themselves without, like, being their authentic self without any apologies, like completely unapologetically them. I feel like you're also into the more extroverted man, a man who likes to be social, a man who likes to network and be like a socialite, social butterfly sort of thing. Maybe because you're a little bit introverted, so maybe that is your perfect counterpart, is someone who is a little bit more bombastic, a little bit more here, like a little bit louder, a little bit more filled with like eccentric energy, like, I don't know. I feel like you're also into men who don't take themselves too seriously, men who can make a fool out of themselves without feeling embarrassed about it, men who can like go on the dance floor and dance horribly and just making it a whole laugh, like making a laugh out of it, like completely, like, yeah, like completely completely careless of what other people how other people might judge them. Like I think this person, like, or the person that you like, the person that you're into, I think the type of man you're into, I think you're just, I feel like you have fallen in love with a man like that a few times in your life, if not in real life, maybe on television, or like that might be the type that you usually find attractive when you watch television or when you watch reality shows, or like that. It's maybe mostly the man who is a little bit on the goofy side, but just very hilarious, like, and you know. I'm going to shuffle and see what the cards have to say about what your usual type in men is, or what your type in men is in general. Not usual, but just your type in men. The Fool card. I feel like you like an entertainer, you like a performer, you like someone who like a court jester sort of energy. And the thing about the court jester is, like, of course it's an entertainer, it's someone whose whole job is to be like, or a part of that job used to, like, a court jester's job was to be a little bit of a clown in front of an audience, make people laugh. But the court jester was also a counselor, the confidant of the leader or the king, or, like, you know, that it's or I think I read that somewhere. I'm not really sure if that's even true, though, because I don't have a good source of I don't know where I got that from, but I think you like a man who can be goofy and kind of act a little bit like a clown, but who also has an intellectual side to them, like someone who also has higher education and maybe has a lot of trivia knowledge, that, like, someone who's good at, like, trivia and, like, coming up, like, telling people random information about things, like someone who seems to know a lot but also has this goofy side, if that makes sense. With the Devil card reversed, I feel like your usual, or your type in men is maybe, like, I think you don't like men who are, like, business oriented, like businessmen who go to business school and are, like, only thinking about, like, numbers and like how to make a profit and stuff like that. I think you like men who are more just living in the moment and kind of I don't know, maybe also the more artistic side, artistic people, like a little bit creative people, like people who maybe have their own thing going, like their own, like maybe you fall in love with people who have a creative project that they are trying to get into a reality, or like something that they have where it's a hobby that they can make money out of, or something like that. So I'm gonna ask why you have this type in men. Like, why do you fall in love with this type of man? Why is this your type? With a Magician here, I feel like this could have something to do with a manifestation that you have currently, or that you're currently, it seems like you're currently manifesting something in your life. And I don't even think it has anything to do with your love life. You might be manifesting something in your career, like a legacy, like something where you want to do something with your life, something, or I don't know, something that you feel like is your mission, but you want to manifest it into reality sooner, or some, I don't know. And I feel like somehow I think the Spirit, the Holy Spirit that has the whole like palette of colors to paint with, is sort of like it seems like this. It seems like the Spirit has seen that the way for you to get this manifestation, to fulfill this manifestation that you have currently started, or that you are in the process of getting into reality, like materializing this manifestation into reality, it seems like it's a part of that where I think that there is a reason why you're attracted to the performer type. I think it's because Spirit has a little bit of a vision for you, where they feel like you want this, you want the fame, or you want the success, the career success, you want to be acknowledged as a creative or as an artist or something like that. And so I think the Spirit has just realized that the way that you can achieve that is maybe if you partner up with someone who is on a similar path, because a double effect will happen if two people on the same path get together and move towards this path together. Then it will be just double effect, and so I think that is why you're attracted to these types of people, like because it seems like that there is a point in that. So if that makes sense. But I'm going to shuffle a little bit more about why you get attracted to these types of men. With the King of Wands. I feel like, I feel like you have a soulmate that, I feel like your soulmate might actually fit very well into the type that you have. And I think you have that type, like you are attracted to that type of man because your soulmate is that type. And so it's all just, I think you were kind of born to find this person in some way. And so like from the get-go, I think you have maybe always kind of radiated more towards boys or men who had this entertainment aspect to them, seemed to be a little bit more theater interested, like to go on stage, like to perform for other people, and I think it's all a part of the grand scheme of, or grand, like the whole the fate that there is a blueprint within you of your life, and a part of this blueprint is that you're supposed to radiate towards this type because you're supposed to find the person that is your soulmate. And so you have already been granted like a little bit of an image of what that is. And I think I think the person that is your soulmate also has that vision in their mind of what they want, and that is you. And so I think it's, if you haven't already found him, I think then I believe that you are going to find him if you just stay true to the type that you have, like stay true to this blueprint and find this person that fits your vision, if that makes sense. I don't know, but could be a King of Wands, could be a fire sign, a Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. I kind of felt a Leo energy from this person because, or from this, from the type that you have, it kind of gives a Leo energy, that you are maybe looking for a Leo energy. And I think the soulmate that you have could be Leo. But I don't want to completely make you, I don't want to be so specific to say that this is a Leo, because then if you find your soulmate and it turns out that he's an Aries or a Sagittarius or even another sign like a Gemini or an Aquarius or something like that, then I don't want you to be completely blindfolded towards that person if that person doesn't fit the zodiac sign that I mentioned here. So don't but I want to also know, I want to know a little. I feel like you are very aware as a person. I feel like you seem to have a spiritual awareness, an intuitive awareness that also makes me feel like there isn't actually any because with some people, the type of person that they go for might have to do with some underlying thoughts that are being pressed down, and it sometimes it's subconscious patterns that aren't aware, aren't completely that doesn't make complete sense to us, but because we haven't really realized that this is what we are going for, or what we are attracted to, that we don't realize that it's because of something subconscious, something that's happening subconsciously within us, if that makes sense. But I feel like in your case, I don't feel like there's any subconscious pattern besides the whole blueprint of your life, where it feels like this is in alignment with your path, your life path, where you're headed. And I feel like there is a lot of intuitive energy that seems to be echoing your soul very well. You seem to be very good at echoing your own soul into I don't know if that makes sense. It does. It doesn't really. What I'm trying to say is that I think you're very much on the right path, and you seem to be very self-aware and very aware of your path. So it's you're not attracted to this specific type just because your dad, because it's similar to your dad, or that you have daddy issues or mother issues, or it doesn't seem like there is any subconscious pattern that seems to be at play here. Just seems like you're going for that you're attracted to the type of person that you're gonna end up with, that you're gonna end up with this person, and that we're always supposed to end up with this person. From birth, it was already written in the stars, and so you're just on the right path to find this person. So it's just, and the manifestations, it's making it happen quicker, but really you're just manifesting what was already yours. And the fact that you could manifest it was because you were psychic enough to believe, to know that this was your future. I feel like sometimes people get manifestation mistaken from visions. Like I feel like people don't realize that that when they think about something before it happens, it's a vision. When they are like dreaming about something that is and then it comes true. The dream was the vision of the future that was granted to you as a vision, as a forecast, not necessarily a manifestation. So I think you just already knew what was already yours, and you've been manifesting it into reality quicker. But it was already there to begin, and it would always have happened nonetheless, if that makes sense. But yeah, but I think that's all I have for you, group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye. Hello, group number 5. You chose this Dame Fortune's Tarot Wheel, or Wheel Tarot. Yeah, this tarot deck here. You chose this one. And I'm going to start with some channeling, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards for you. So I'm going to do the channeling now. So Spirit, can you answer this question for group number 5, the people who will choose group number 5? What is group number 5's type in men? I'm kind of getting Shrek. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know, but I feel like maybe you had a childhood crush on Shrek from the Shrek movies, the troll, the orc. But of course, that's not like, I just feel like maybe you're into men who are a little bit more rough around the edges, men who are a little bit broad, a little bit tall, like tall and broad, and maybe a little bit like big, like a teddy bear kind of energy. And that is the thing with Shrek. Like he has a tough exterior, but he's very soft on the inside, and so he's like I think I had a childhood crush on Shrek too. I think many girls did. Kind of like that. There is something about a man who comes across as a total tool in the beginning, and then just turns out to be like the nicest guy, like, and that is also a problem, I feel like, because then I feel like, at least in my case, I feel like I've been looking for these tools and dated some tools, and then realized that they weren't actually nice on the inside, like that. And I think I got a little bit disappointed a few times, because I just imagined that on the inside they would be all soft and fussy, but it just turned out that the exterior matched the interior, and that it was actually just all how it seemed, and there was really no mystery to solve or unravel. Like, so a little bit disappointing. But I feel like maybe you have also kind of experienced something similar, where you dated someone who had a very tough exterior, and you thought that there was a big old softie on the inside, but then realized that it was just tough on the inside too. Like, and but I'm gonna shuffle and see what the cards have to say. about your type in men. Okay, with the Fool reversed, I feel like the men that you're usually attracted to might be men who are I guess with the Fool here, like he's the Fool is the beginning. It's the like, and I feel like maybe you are a little bit into unattainable men, because the Fool is this is like the major arcana. It's the Fool's journey, and it's like if the Fool, which is the first card that's going to start the whole journey, if that is reversed, it's kind of making me feel like you're maybe more attracted to men who are a little bit passive, men who don't seem interested, and men who just really want to be left alone. And that's also this kind of the Shrek kind of personality, where in the beginning of Shrek, then Shrek is kind of like all alone in his like swamp and being like, get out of my swamp and stuff like that, and he doesn't want any company, and he gets really annoyed with the donkey, and because the donkey tries to get him to do things that he doesn't want to do, and like that kind of, maybe you're kind of into that, or like maybe you were a little bit in the past, like maybe you've kind of gone for the men who seem to have very little interest in getting to know you, like, but or like didn't really seem that interested in dating you. And so like, and I've been there, like I've also like fallen in love with men who did not reciprocate my interest, and that is okay. Like I think that we all have those experiences. So and sometimes we go for the unattainable men because deep down, subconsciously, we don't want to be in a relationship. So we're just choosing the ones that don't want us anyways, so that it's easier to let them down because they have already let, like, you know, it's harder to date someone who is madly in love with you, because then if you realize that you actually are not ready for a relationship, then you have to break somebody's heart, and that's kind of terrible to do. It's very awful to be in that position of having to hurt somebody's feelings, and so maybe you have chosen to be with some, or chosen to date, or chosen to have interest for men who seemed to lack interest in you, because then there would be a bigger chance that they would break your heart and not the other way around. Maybe because you felt like it would be easier to get your heart broken than to have to break somebody else's heart, if that makes sense. So with the Hanged man here, like I feel like you have maybe been attracted to men that seem to postpone everything, that seem to be procrastinating everything, kind of the type of person where you might have texted them and they texted you back like many days later, where you had to wait a long time for a response. and maybe and maybe it kind of goes hand in hand with the whole idea of the unattainable man. So it makes sense. So yeah, with a 4 of Wands reversed, I think you might have just, or you might still be mostly interested in men where it seems like they have something, like some kind of trauma, something that they are going through, like something that makes them a little bit layered, like an onion, you know. So Shrek is such a good movie, though. Like all of them, not just the first one. Like the second one was even better. Like, and it's such a good like series of movies. It's so, like, yeah, but probably did fuck a lot of girls up with expectations that were impossible. Like if they actually fell in love with Shrek when they were young. Like I think many girls did. So yeah, but whatever. With a 4 of Wands, when it's upright, it's about a beautiful kind of thing. Like it's kind of the whole pillar to like a house. It's also the harvest. It's like getting together, celebrating. It's kind of also like a reunion card in a way, like, but it came out reversed. So I feel like maybe you have just been more into, or maybe you still are more into, guys who can't really give you what you want, like what you deep down want from them, like that you might be more. I just feel like you might choose the men that you know will be unsuccessful with you, like not unsuccessful with their life, but in a relationship, like that you just know that this connection will never be anything. And I think I don't know if this is your type right now, but I feel like it could just be a subconscious thing, like where you are choosing the ones that seem very unavailable, unattainable, and maybe also a little bit unhinged, where it's like, yes, this person is sexy, and yes, this person is going to end up in a but I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. I just need a minute, or not a minute, a second to figure this out. Yeah, I think it's just about, like, I think your type is maybe very, unattainable, unavailable. Kind of, maybe you go for the introverted, kind of traumatic, like someone who seems to have experienced something traumatic, someone who seems a little bit emo, a little bit goth kind, or something like that. Someone who seems to be very uninterested in talking to people, or like someone who seems a little bit isolated, someone who seems to just want to be alone, someone who seems and maybe it's just because that you subconsciously don't want love right now, don't want to be in a relationship, don't want to settle down with someone, don't want to get trapped into a relationship where you're not really certain, and at this point whether you want to give up on your freedom to do whatever you want, maybe in your career, or like maybe you have something that you really want to do, and you might feel like, or your subconscious mind might feel like if you get in a relationship now, it will ruin or sabotage some of the plans that you have for the future. And so maybe that is why you're being attracted to these men who don't seem to actually be good fits for you, because then it's just going to be short term, and then it's not going to distract you too much from your higher purpose, if that makes sense. I'm going to shuffle about why you're interested in the type of person that you're interested in, or the type of man that you're attracted to. Why are you attracted to this type of man? With the Knight of Wands reversed, I feel like maybe you also got your feelings hurt at some point, where you, like in the past, where you might have had a bad breakup with someone. Maybe you had to break up with someone that was like where it was really hurtful, or where it was really painful to do so, and maybe you feel like you don't want to do that again, and so maybe you're just subconsciously choosing to be with people that would be more likely to break up with you than you would be likely to break up with them, if that makes sense. That it would be more likely that they would break up with you. Yeah. With the Death card here, I feel like your type in men is kind of transforming. I feel like maybe you usually, maybe you used to be more attracted to the unattainable, unavailable man. Maybe you're starting to become more interested in the men who seem just very nice to you, seem to be very gentleman-like, and seem to have their heart at the right place. Maybe you're actually looking for the softer guy now, like the guy that you would have found a little bit boring back in the day. Like before, you might have chosen not to date some people because you found them to be too simplistic or too boring, and maybe you just didn't like that they were so into you, and it made you a little bit uncomfortable that they were too into you. I don't know, because that would maybe also, it makes sense that maybe you've had a period in your life where you have chosen to choose people that aren't into you, because it was maybe, like I said before, you might have broken up with someone that was really, really into you, like really very much into you, and you were this person's whole life. I feel like I think that I know if this doesn't resonate with you, then it's a specific message for some of you. So don't try to make it fit if it doesn't fit. So, But yeah, I feel like this experience, like I know you might feel like it was like you might not feel like you have the right to be traumatized by this, because you were the one that caused this bad breakup, like because you were the one who made that decision to break up with them. But I feel like it's actually a traumatic experience for you too, something that has shaped your life afterwards, where you have made other choices romantically than you would have done if this breakup hadn't gone so sideways. And I feel like maybe this person started stalking you afterwards, and maybe you just got in this, like maybe you just didn't, maybe you had a long period where you just didn't want to get in that type of relationship again, where you're involved with someone who is so into you, so infatuated by you, so completely obsessed with you, like that you would rather be with someone who's not obsessed with you at all, and maybe even the opposite of obsessed, if that makes sense. So with the significator card here, it's actually usually not a card that's supposed to be in the deck, because it's usually just used as a significator when you do spreads, like the Celtic cross spread or something like that. But I choose to have it in there just because I feel like sometimes it has a meaning, and I feel like the reason why you have the type is a little bit of a, like something that is underlying within you, like some subconscious patterns that keep repeating themselves because you're not dealing with something that was probably very traumatic in the past. And as soon as you get rid of, or not rid of it, because you can't get rid of it, but as soon as you heal from it and start dealing with what happened, and allowing yourself to actually feel traumatized by this, even though you might feel like it was like that it was harder for that person, and that like maybe you feel like you were the villain in this, and that you don't want to feel like the victim because you feel like that's a little bit icky to feel like the victim when you were the one breaking up or something like that. But I feel like it's still something that was traumatic, and something that I think you need to talk to somebody about, maybe like a psychologist, a therapist, or something like that. I know that, but I'm just saying that I think this was maybe a little bit bigger than you make it out to be. Like, I think in your mind, I think you just cancel it out because you feel like it's not you who should feel this way, like that. But I think it's still something that happened that needs to be, like, I feel like it's something that you're pressing down, and it needs to bubble up to the surface, and so that you can deal with it, so that you can talk about it, so that it doesn't have this grasp on your life, if that makes sense. Because if this person started stalking you, that is a felony, and it's a felony for a reason. It's because it torments the person who's getting stalked. Even if it was someone that you were close to at a point, like that you feel that you have some dear feelings for in some way, like because there was maybe parts of this relationship that were good, like good memories too. And so you might have some respect for this person, or at least some feelings, like some warm feelings towards this person, but it doesn't justify, or it doesn't make it so that it's like, it's still stalking. It seems like it still was stalker behavior, and it made you uncomfortable, and it seems like it's something that you need to address. if that makes sense. I know it's not going to be a message that's for every one of you. Like, I know that this is maybe a few of you that needed that message, but I just want to deliver it, even if it's not for all of you. So, yeah. With a fortitude, it's strength and it's reversed. I think there. I feel like there is a part of you that is a little bit afraid of building a too strong connection with someone, where maybe you're afraid of getting suffocated, afraid of getting to a point where you're too deep into something so that there's no way out of it, like that you feel like there is a point of no return for any relationship, where after that it's like it's impossible to get out. And maybe you have a tendency for claustrophobia in other senses of the word, like that also, like because claustrophobia is so many different things, and it tends to be a thing that can affect someone in many different ways. Like, yeah, it's not just about small spaces, it's also about not wanting to be in a relationship where you can't see a way out of it. It's also about being in a situation where you can't see your way out of it. It could also be being like, yeah, it's not only about being stuck in airplanes or being stuck in a bus where you don't know how to get out if you just suddenly feel overwhelmed, but it's also about, it can also be about, like, one of the things that, I feel like people who have claustrophobia also has like a hard time with drugs, or don't really like the feeling of being on drugs, because the feeling of being on drugs makes you feel like you're in one mindset and you can't get out of it until a few hours have passed, or 12 hours have passed, or something like that. And so people who have claustrophobia, I think they also have a tendency to not want to be on medication, or not wanting to be on anything that changes their mindset, or changes some patterns in their mind in a time frame where they feel like they can't change it, they can't get out of it, if that makes sense. But I didn't want to talk, like, I wasn't planning on talking about that. So yeah, but I think maybe you have some claustrophobia that might also make you a little bit, like, make you feel a little bit suffocated when you feel like you're in a situation that you can't really see your way out of. Like, that you maybe also you can also get claustrophobic in an education, like if you or in a job, or in like anything where you feel like you're making a contract for staying somewhere for a few, like for like an amount of years. Like if you make a contract where you have to work at one place for a year or 3 years, then it might seem claustrophobic because you feel like there's no way out. You're bound to something, and I don't know. Maybe you don't feel like this is the right definition of claustrophobia. I mix these things up in my head. I feel like it's all like I feel like claustrophobia is an umbrella term for all these things. I feel like it's all the same. It's stemming from the same feeling. It's in my mind. So I don't know if people agree with me. They don't have to. You don't have to. But with the 5 of batons, which is 5 of wands reversed, I feel like you might also not want to fight with someone or argue, or you might have a little bit of a people pleaser thing that might be also a little bit scary when it comes to love, because maybe you're a little bit afraid that you're gonna like that if you got in a relationship with someone who's maybe abusive, that you would stay in that relationship just because you couldn't really, that you can't deal with the whole confrontation, and because you're very non-confrontational, it might scare you away from wanting to be in a relationship, because you feel like, what if you're gonna be with someone who's bad for you and you just don't know how to get out of it. Like, it is a little bit scary to think about, and I think I understand what you're like, if you feel that way. But then again, like, I think you just if you found the right, like, and that's again a thing about your subconscious mind trying to get you kind of to be attracted to people who are not going to end up in a serious relationship with you, because or it might not be your subconscious mind, but your conscious mind being in, I don't know which one it is actually right now. Like, I'm kind of being a little bit confused, because I feel like the subconscious mind is actually trying to get the opposite, but I feel like your mind is kind of trying to be like that your conscious mind is actually being at play here, where you feel like this is that it's somehow easier to be with someone who doesn't want to settle down, doesn't want something serious, where you want to be in a little bit of like more of a free relationship, like more freedom, because the freedom might help you with the claustrophobia. Like, you don't feel claustrophobia if you're with someone who is all about freedom, who wants a loose, casual sort of relationship. And you might even be a little bit attracted to men who want an open relationship, and maybe you have kind of experienced that in the past, or that someone kind of suggested to be that they wanted to be in an open relationship with you. But I feel like that actually turned you off, even though I think that is what you want, because it wouldn't make you feel claustrophobic, but it's still kind of a little bit icky, and I kind of get that this seems a little bit contradictory, but I don't think it is. I think I don't know. But I think that a lot of things are going on in your subconscious mind that maybe needs to be kind of talked about, so that it can get to your conscious mind. Like, that sometimes it helps to talk about it, and talk about it with a therapist, or talk about it with yourself, like by journaling, or writing in a diary, and like, or writing just, sometimes it could help to just write an autobiography about your own life, and maybe that could help you realize some of the things that went wrong, some of the things that might have been swooped under the rug, where maybe you should have addressed them at the time, and maybe it would be a little bit cathartic if you talked or wrote about this in some way, like, because like sometimes it can seem a lot less scary if you talk about it. Like, it can seem like a big anxiety within you, but when you talk about it, it's gonna lose effect, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I think that's all I have for you. Group number 5. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, check the description box below for more information on how to get one. And have a great day, and bye.